Hello, my best students. Welcome back to a new episode that might just shift how you see yourself and how others see you too. Because today, we're not just learning English, we're learning how to own the room with our words. This episode is for the version of you that wants to walk into any conversation and speak with presence, purpose, and quiet power. We're diving into success vocabulary, words that confident, high-value people use naturally, not to impress, but to express who they are. These are not complicated words. They're clean, focused, sharp, and when you learn to use them, something amazing happens. Your energy changes. You stop sounding unsure. You stop chasing approval. You start speaking with clarity, intention, and strength. So if you've ever asked yourself, how can I sound more confident in English? Or, how can I speak like someone who respects themselves and commands respect from others? This is your episode because it's not about speaking more. It's about speaking better, smarter, stronger, and with the kind of presence that makes people stop and listen. So grab your notebook, stay with me, and let's grow together, word by word, mindset by mindset. Let's begin. Success. Word 1. Intentional. Let's start with a word that changes everything, not just how you speak, but how you live. Intentional. When you speak like a high-value, confident person, you don't use words carelessly. You don't say things just to fill the silence. You choose words that carry meaning, purpose, direction, and that's what intentional is all about. It means you're not acting by accident. You're not reacting to life. You're creating it. You know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Let's break it down. A high-value person doesn't say, I don't know, I guess I'll try. They say, I'm being intentional about how I spend my time. They don't say, I'm just going with the flow. When they actually feel lost, they say, right now, I'm choosing stillness to realign with what matters. See the difference? The first sounds passive, uncertain, small. The second, clear, calm, powerful. Being intentional means you're deliberate with your energy, your words, your decisions. It means you don't chase everything. You choose carefully. It also means your communication becomes more magnetic because people are drawn to clarity, confidence, focus, and intentional language sends a signal. I know who I am, and I'm not here to impress, I'm here to express. So how can you start using this word in real life? Instead of saying, I just woke up and scrolled through my phone, say, I'm trying to be more intentional with how I start my mornings. Instead of saying, I didn't really think about it, say, that's not something I've been intentional about yet, but I will be. Notice how it shifts the energy? You sound thoughtful, mature, present. And that's what high-value communication does. It makes people listen without needing to shout. Now here's the key. You don't just say the word intentional. You live it. You become someone who thinks before speaking, someone who pauses before reacting, someone who asks, why am I doing this? Does this align with my values? And when your actions and your words match, that's when your confidence becomes unshakable Being intentional isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware, about moving through life with clarity instead of confusion, purpose instead of pressure. When you speak with intention, you don't have to speak a lot. You speak wisely, powerfully, and people feel it. So today, I invite you to bring this word into your life, into your conversations, into your mindset. Start saying, I'm being intentional with my time. I'm choosing my words intentionally. I want to live a more intentional life. Because when your language is intentional, your presence becomes unforgettable. Success, word 2, aligned. This next word speaks directly to how high-value people live, speak, and move, aligned. To be aligned means your thoughts, your words, your actions, and your values are working in harmony. You're not just saying one thing and doing another. You're not pretending. You're not performing. You're real, and people can feel it. That's why this word is so powerful. When you speak it, it communicates depth, purpose, and emotional intelligence. Confident people don't just chase what looks good. They pursue what feels right, what's aligned with who they are. That's the secret. They don't try to impress. They try to stay authentic. Let's put this word into real-life examples. Instead of saying, I quit that job because I didn't like it, say, it wasn't aligned with my long-term goals. Instead of saying, I stopped talking to them because it got too toxic, say, the relationship wasn't aligned with my values anymore. Now notice what just happened. Same story, different energy. The second version sounds grounded, calm, in control. You're not running away from problems. You're choosing alignment. And that's what confident, high-value communication is about. Speaking with clarity, not chaos. People respect you more when you live in alignment, when you say no to things that don't fit your values, when you stop chasing validation and start choosing integrity. And when you speak using this word, you show that you're not just reacting to life, you're intentionally designing it. Using the word aligned also signals emotional maturity. It shows that you've reflected, that you've thought things through, that you're making decisions not out of fear, but from a place of wisdom. So how can you build this word into your vocabulary? Try saying things like, I'm focused on staying aligned with what matters to me. I need some time to get realigned before making a decision. This choice aligns with the kind of person I want to become. It doesn't just sound strong, it is strong. Because most people are all over the place, saying one thing, doing another. High-value people are different. They pause, they reflect, and they choose alignment over attention. And remember, alignment isn't about always knowing the perfect path. It's about paying attention to how you feel and having the courage to adjust, to shift, to say, this no longer feels aligned, and move in a new direction without guilt. So today, speak it, live it. Let this word guide your communication and your life, because when your life is aligned, your voice carries weight. You don't have to be loud to be respected. You just have to be real. Success word 3, Grounded. There's a certain energy that confident people carry. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's calm, steady, present. That energy comes from one thing: being grounded. To be grounded means you're centered. You're not easily shaken. You're not flying with every opinion or crashing with every challenge. You know who you are, and you speak from that place. That's why this word is so powerful in high-value vocabulary. It tells people, I'm rooted, I'm clear, I'm not here to react, I'm here to respond. Let's be real. Life will challenge you. People will misunderstand you. Stress will test you. But when you're grounded, you don't lose yourself in the chaos. You return to your center. You breathe. You speak slowly, clearly. And when you do that, everyone around you listens. Here's how this word shows up in high-level conversations. Instead of saying, I'm just trying not to freak out, say, I'm staying grounded through this situation. Instead of saying, I don't want to overreact, say, I'm keeping myself grounded so I can respond wisely. The shift in tone is huge. You move from emotional to intentional, from insecure to self-aware. Being grounded is attractive, not just in communication, but in energy. People feel safe around someone who is grounded. They trust your presence. They trust your word. They see you as stable, and stability is rare in a world full of noise. So how can you start using this word in your daily English? Here are a few examples. I take time in the morning to feel grounded before my day begins. I try to stay grounded, especially when I'm under pressure. Meditation helps me stay grounded and present. This isn't about sounding perfect. It's about sounding emotionally intelligent. It's about replacing reactive language with reflective language. That's what makes you sound high value, not the size of your vocabulary, but the depth of it. And being grounded doesn't mean you never feel overwhelmed. It means when you do, you know how to come back to yourself. You know how to stay calm in a storm. You know how to speak from a place of inner strength, even when your voice shakes. Here's something powerful. When you speak from a grounded place, you help ground others too. Your energy becomes contagious. You're not just speaking, you're stabilizing the room. And that's leadership. So next time life gets heavy, pause. Don't rush your words. Don't force control. Just say, I'm choosing to stay grounded right now. Then speak. From the core. From the calm. From the version of you that knows who they are, no matter what's happening outside. Because being grounded is not just a word, it's a superpower. Success. Word 4. Disciplined. Confidence doesn't always come from charisma, and success doesn't always come from talent. Often, the people who rise the highest are not the most gifted, but the most disciplined. To be disciplined means you do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It means your actions are bigger than your excuses. Your vision is stronger than your mood. And when you use this word in your vocabulary, it says something powerful about who you are. I'm consistent. I'm committed. I don't just talk, I follow through. High-value people don't need to constantly explain themselves. Their discipline speaks for them. You see it in how they manage their time, how they show up, how they handle their goals. Their words don't sound desperate or chaotic. They sound firm, focused, and in control. Here's how this word shifts the energy in conversation. Instead of saying, I'm trying to wake up early but I keep failing, say, I'm building a more disciplined morning routine. Instead of saying, I can't focus lately, say, I'm working on staying more disciplined with my attention. Notice how it shifts from complaining to ownership, from feeling lost to leading yourself. The word disciplined isn't about being rigid or robotic. It's about self-respect. It says, I value my time. I value my energy. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be consistent. And that's what separates people who talk about success from those who live it. In your English learning journey, discipline is everything. Motivation will come and go. But if you're disciplined, if you show up for 10 minutes a day, even when you're tired, you will make progress. And when you speak about yourself as someone who is disciplined, people take you seriously because you take yourself seriously. You can build this word into your daily language like this. I'm becoming more disciplined with how I use social media. Discipline is something I'm developing. It's helping me grow. I admire people who are disciplined, and I'm learning to become one of them. When you use language like this, you're telling the world, I'm not relying on luck. I'm not waiting for motivation. I'm training myself to rise daily, and that's what makes you magnetic. That's what makes you reliable. That's what builds quiet confidence from the inside out. And if you fall off your routine, that's okay. A disciplined person doesn't pretend to be perfect. They just get back up. That's the mindset. That's the identity. So today, ask yourself, where in my life can I speak with more discipline? Where can I act with more follow-through? Because the more you build this habit, the more you can look at yourself and say, I do hard things. I keep my word. I'm becoming disciplined, and it shows. Success, word 5, boundaries. If there's one word that quietly separates confident, high-value people from the rest, it's this: boundaries. To have boundaries means you know your worth. You understand your time, your energy, your emotional space are valuable, and you don't give them away freely. You don't explain yourself over and over. You don't say yes to everything just to be liked. Instead, you say, this is what I allow. This is what I protect. This is what I don't accept. Boundaries aren't walls. They're not cold or cruel. They're doors with locks designed to open, close, or stay shut, depending on who's at the door and what they bring into your space. And when you use the word boundaries in conversation, it immediately changes the dynamic. You're no longer someone who's controlled by others. You become someone who honors their time, protects their peace, and speaks with quiet power. For example, instead of saying, I just don't want to hang out with them anymore, you say, I'm setting boundaries around the people I spend energy on. Instead of saying, I feel overwhelmed at work, say, I need to reinforce some boundaries with how much I take on. It changes everything. You're not avoiding, you're choosing. You're not a victim. You're in alignment with your values. That's what high-value language sounds like. Calm control, grace with firmness. No need to shout, defend, or over-explain. And here's where it gets deeper. When you speak in terms of boundaries, people respect you more because you're showing them how to treat you. You're not asking, you're demonstrating. And the most powerful thing you can ever teach someone is how to interact with your time and energy. In your English learning journey, this applies too. Maybe you need to set boundaries with distraction, or with people who don't support your growth, or even with yourself, saying, I won't keep doubting my ability. That's a line I'm not crossing anymore. Here's how to naturally start using this word. I'm working on building stronger boundaries in my schedule. I have boundaries around my screen time so I can focus. I love helping others, but I also have boundaries so I don't burn out. When you use this language, you don't sound rude. You sound centered, mature, respectful of yourself and of others. And remember, boundaries are not selfish. They're self-care. They're not about shutting people out. They're about letting the right people in without losing yourself. That's confidence. That's high-value communication. So ask yourself today, where do I need stronger boundaries? And how can I express them with clarity and respect? Because when you protect your energy, you protect your future. And that's something no one can give you but you. Success, word 6, assertive. Let's talk about a word that holds the key to confident communication, especially when you need to speak your truth without sounding aggressive or weak. That word is assertive. To be assertive means you express yourself clearly, directly, and respectfully. You're not passive. You don't stay silent when something feels wrong. And you're not aggressive. You don't dominate or disrespect others. You simply stand tall in your truth, and you say what needs to be said with calm strength. This word changes how people hear you. When someone says they're so assertive, it's not a criticism. It's often a compliment. It means you're not afraid to speak up. You know your voice matters, and you use it. Let's compare. Passive sounds like this. I'm sorry, but is it okay if I maybe take tomorrow off? Aggressive sounds like this. I'm not asking. I'm taking tomorrow off, and that's final. But assertive sounds like this. I'd like to take tomorrow off. I've completed my tasks and want to use a personal day. See the difference? Assertiveness is clean, confident, honest. You're not asking for permission to exist. You're communicating your needs clearly and calmly, and that is a major part of being high value. Here's where this word becomes powerful in your vocabulary. Instead of saying, I don't want to cause problems, say, I'm learning to be more assertive when something matters to me. Instead of saying, I'm too shy to speak, say, I'm practicing how to be more assertive in conversations. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be aggressive. You just need to trust your voice and speak it without fear. Being assertive also helps you set boundaries, express ideas, and lead conversations. And the more you use this word, the more it becomes a part of your identity. You're not trying to be confident. You're training your nervous system to stay grounded while being honest. That's real power. In English, this word opens up doors. In job interviews, relationships, meetings, friendships, being assertive earns respect. People know where you stand. They know what you need. And most importantly, you know you have the right to speak. Here's how to start using the word in real life. I admire people who are assertive and respectful. I want to become more assertive in my communication. She handled that situation assertively, and I respect that. Assertiveness is a skill, and the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Your tone shifts, your energy strengthens, and your message becomes clear. So today, remember, you have the right to take up space. You have the right to speak clearly. You have the right to be heard, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Be respectful, be kind, but most of all, be assertive. Success word 7. Resilient. There's a quiet strength that doesn't always show up in how you speak. It shows up in how you recover. That strength is called resilience. And when you speak like someone who is resilient, your words carry a power that goes deeper than confidence. It goes into character. To be resilient means you don't stay down when life knocks you down. You bounce back. You adjust. You learn. You keep going. Not because it's easy, but because you've decided that your future is more important than your fear. High-value people aren't perfect. They make mistakes. They face rejection. They fail just like everyone else. The difference is, they don't let those moments define them. They grow through them. And the word resilient becomes part of their identity, part of their story, part of their voice. Here's how this word can elevate your communication. Instead of saying, "It's been hard, but I'm trying," say, "It's been a challenge, but I'm becoming more resilient." Instead of saying, "I made mistakes," say, "Those mistakes helped me build resilience." Do you feel the difference? You're not stuck in the problem. You're rising from it. You're not fragile. You're flexible. And people respect that. People are drawn to that energy because it's rare, it's powerful, it's magnetic. When you start to describe yourself as resilient, it sends a message. I'm not afraid of failure. I'm not afraid of setbacks. I'm still here, still learning, still strong. In English learning, this mindset is everything. You will forget words. You will feel blocked. You will have days where your brain feels tired. But if you're resilient, you keep showing up. And that's what builds fluency, not perfection, but persistence. Start using this word in your conversations. I've had to be resilient to keep going. Resilience is what keeps me grounded when things get tough. I respect people who are resilient. They inspire me. This kind of language doesn't just sound impressive, it inspires, because we all know how hard life can be, and when you speak from a place of resilience, people feel your strength. They see the story behind your smile, and that story is what creates true connection. You can also use this word to encourage others. Instead of saying, "Don't give up," say, "You're more resilient than you think." Instead of, "That must be hard," say, "I admire your resilience for getting through it." You're not just building your vocabulary, you're building the voice of someone who's emotionally strong, someone who doesn't let life break them, but lets it shape them. So today, speak this word into your life. Remind yourself, I am resilient. I bend, but I don't break. I grow stronger every time I rise again. Because fluency is great, but resilience, that's unforgettable. Success. Word 8. Intentional. Some people speak just to fill the silence. Others speak with purpose, clarity, and direction. That difference between noise and impact comes down to one powerful word: intentional. We touched on this earlier, but now let's go deeper. Being intentional isn't just about being organized. It's about choosing your words, your time, your focus consciously. It's about not living on autopilot. When you speak intentionally, you speak with alignment, with confidence, with power. Not because you're trying to sound smart, but because you know why you're speaking. High-value people don't just react, they respond. They don't just talk, they communicate. And when they say something like, "I'm being intentional with my time right now," it tells you they're focused, directed, clear. It's not about being controlling, it's about being in control. Let's look at how this word works in real communication. Instead of saying, "I'm just doing a bunch of things," say, "I'm being intentional about what I'm committing to right now." Instead of, "I haven't really thought about that yet," say, "That's something I want to approach with more intention." Now think about how that lands. It's calm, it's mature, it's powerful without being aggressive. That's what confident vocabulary does. It shifts the way people see and feel you. Being intentional also transforms your English learning. Are you just watching random videos and hoping for improvement? Or are you saying, "I'm being intentional about practicing listening and speaking every day, even for 10 minutes"? That difference is everything. When you become more intentional, you also waste less energy. You stop saying yes to things that drain you. You stop over-explaining. You stop pleasing everyone. And your language starts to reflect your strength, because intention brings focus. Focus brings clarity, and clarity creates confidence. Start using this word in your everyday English. I'm being intentional about the kind of people I spend time with. This year, I'm choosing to be more intentional with my growth. I don't do that anymore. It doesn't align with my intentions. This kind of language tells the world, I know what I want. I know who I am. I don't need to rush. I don't need to impress. I just need to stay aligned with my values. And here's the best part. When you speak intentionally, you begin to think intentionally, and that changes everything. Your decisions become cleaner. Your actions become simpler. Your life becomes more peaceful. So ask yourself right now, where can I be more intentional? And more importantly, what kind of person am I becoming when I choose my words and actions with intention? Because when you live and speak with intention, people don't just hear your words, they feel your presence. Success. Word 9. Empowered. When you hear someone speak and you feel energy in their voice, not loudness, but presence, certainty, clarity, that's the sound of someone who is empowered. To be empowered means you don't wait for permission. You don't shrink for approval. You don't rely on others to tell you who you are. You own your choices. You take responsibility for your growth. And when you speak from that place, people listen because empowered communication carries weight. There's a difference between saying something because you feel forced and saying something because you believe in your voice. Empowered people speak from within. They don't speak to please. They speak to express, to connect, to stand tall in their truth. Here's how the word changes your vocabulary. Instead of saying, I'm just doing what I have to, say, I've made an empowered decision to go in this direction. Instead of saying, I hope they give me a chance, say, I feel empowered to create my own opportunities. See the shift? You're no longer waiting. You're leading. You're not hoping. You're choosing. Empowered doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you move anyway. It means your decisions come from strength, not pressure. It means you can say no with grace and yes with confidence. And when you start using this word, you invite others to rise with you, because empowerment is contagious. In your English learning, this is everything. Are you studying because someone told you to, or because you've empowered yourself with the belief that this language will transform your life? One mindset keeps you trapped. The other gives you wings. Start using the word like this. I want to feel more empowered in how I speak. This new habit is helping me feel empowered every day. She made an empowered choice to change her life. It's more than vocabulary. It's a statement, a declaration. And when you speak that way, your energy changes. You stop apologizing for growing. You stop shrinking for comfort. You take up space, not to dominate, but to be present. Empowered language is direct but kind, honest but respectful. You don't try to sound powerful. You speak from a place that already is, because you've done the inner work. You've built the mindset. And now your voice reflects it. Here's the truth. You're already more empowered than you realize. You've faced challenges, you've made hard choices, you've kept learning, even when it was hard. That's empowerment in action. Now let your language match your strength. So today, speak it, live it, own it. I am empowered. I am capable. I create my path. Because when you speak like someone who is empowered, you don't just change the conversation, you change the entire energy of the room. Success word 10, clarity. Let's finish this series with a word that silently transforms everything. How you think, how you speak, how you lead. That word is clarity. Clarity means you're not lost in confusion. You're not speaking to be heard. You're speaking to be understood. It means you know what you want. You know what matters. And when you talk, people don't just hear you. They feel the precision in your words. Because clarity is confidence without noise. A high-value person doesn't ramble. They don't over-explain. They say what they mean, and they say it with calm certainty. Why? Because they have clarity, clarity of purpose, clarity of standards, clarity of identity. And that kind of communication cuts through the clutter like a laser. Let's compare. Instead of saying, well, I don't know, I'm kind of doing a few things and trying to figure it out, say, right now, I'm focused on building my skills and moving toward long-term growth. I have a clear direction. Instead of, I'm just going with the flow, say, I'm clear on what I want and I'm creating space for it. See how clean that sounds? That's what clarity does. It removes doubt from your words. It gives you power, not because you're trying to be powerful, but because your intention is sharp. Here's the secret. People follow clarity. They trust it. They want to be around it. When you speak with clarity, you don't need to convince anyone of anything. You are the message, and that makes you magnetic. You can start using this word in your daily English like this. I've gained a lot of clarity about what I want. I need some time to get clear before I make a decision. I admire people who speak with clarity. It's powerful. Clarity is also about removing the unnecessary. Too many words, too much explanation, too much emotional noise. It dilutes your message. Confident speakers say less, but mean more. Their silence is thoughtful. Their words are purposeful. That's what makes them stand out. And when it comes to English learning, clarity helps here too. Don't try to sound complicated. Don't try to use big words you're not ready for. Speak clearly, simply, cleanly. That's what fluency looks like in the beginning. And that's what confidence sounds like at every level. Here's a practice. Before you speak, ask yourself, what do I really want to say? What is the clearest way to express this? That pause will change the way you communicate forever, because the most powerful voice is not the loudest, it's the clearest. And clarity is a choice, a habit, a superpower. So today, speak with clarity, think with clarity, move with clarity. Because when you know who you are and what you stand for, you don't need to shout, you just need to be clear. And there you have it, my best students. 10 powerful words, 10 mindset shifts, 10 pieces of the language that don't just make you sound better, they make you feel stronger, more grounded, more aligned with who you're becoming. Because this episode wasn't just about English vocabulary, it was about building the identity of someone who speaks with intention, someone who walks into a room and doesn't need to be the loudest to be respected, someone who doesn't just know words but embodies them. You're not just learning a language. You're learning how to lead yourself. And when you lead yourself, others naturally follow. So here's what I want you to remember. Speak with clarity. Move with confidence. Live with purpose. Because every word you speak is a reflection of the person you're becoming. And trust me, you're becoming someone powerful. Thank you for being here, for learning with me, for growing with me. Until next time, stay intentional, stay resilient, and most of all, keep speaking like the high-value person you already are.